What is up everyone, my name is Alex and welcome to Financial Freedom Starting From Scratch episode 1. The purpose of this series is to share with you what I would do if I would have to start the financial freedom journey from $0. But the cool thing is that I would actually start from zero. So I would get everything, I wipe everything out and start from a clean slate from $0 and build financial freedom and financial security starting from basically nothing. So if you're into it and if you want to follow me along or if you want to do it yourself, hop on, subscribe, and welcome on a lawyer's path to financial independence. By starting from $0, I believe that's going to be the best way to share with you everything that I learned so far about financial freedom, financial independence, early retirement, psychology of money, but especially investing and managing money. So in a way, it's my way of giving back everything that I learned from the community. For now, the videos are probably going to be structured in 3 parts. In the first part, I'm going to give you an update of everything that happened up until that point. I'm going to give you a net worth update, a savings update, an investing update, and everything else of the sorts. Then on the second part of the video, we are going to move on the meat and potatoes of the topic for that video. Like for example, in this one is going to be the first thing that I would do if I would start from $0, which would be to build an emergency fund. And the third part will probably be implemented somewhere in the future if this community is going to grow, where I will answer your questions that you're going to leave in the comments below. But until we get to that point, I will probably improvise the third part and maybe introduce some things that I find helpful along the way, some extra information that I believe is going to benefit all of us. So for this video, the update part is actually going to be the starting point, and since the starting point is going to be starting from scratch, we are going to start from $0 in the financial freedom market. And in this part, as I said, you will see the updates on the savings rate, the updates on the savings, on the emergency fund building process, and on the investing process. And I will try to be as transparent with you as possible and show you all the nitty-gritty and all the things behind the scenes so you can implement the things by yourself. I learned most of those things by watching how other people do this, so it is only fair that I am transparent and share with you the same processes that I use in order to get from point A to point B, and the things that I change and that I optimize in order to get there faster. So as I said, since I'm starting from $0, the first thing that I want to do to have a little bit of financial freedom and financial security is to build an emergency fund. And I have 2 goals for this first goal, let's call it that way. So 2 milestones. The first one is to build a 3-month emergency fund, and that one I'm going to aggressively contribute towards because I really want to get that financial stability of having 3 months of current expenses covered. And then I will dial back, and the next milestone will be to cover 6 months of current expenses. But to get to the 6 months mark, I'm going to go there in about 12 months or so, or that's how I framed it, that's how I thought about it, because I just want the first 3 months to get there as fast as possible, to have the financial security of those 3 months of expenses, and then get some of the money and start putting them towards investing and building wealth. In order to build that 3-month emergency fund, I told you that I'm going to use the 3 months of current expenses. And you might be wondering, like, how do you figure that out? Like, how do you know how much you need to save in order to get your 3 months of current expenses or your expenses in general? Because you might want to know it so you can apply it yourself, and it's only fair to do that. For me, this is really simple. I'm going to check the core financial document of Alex Life's Incorporated, which is the budget. That's the place where I track everything that's coming in and it's going out of my pocket, and that's how I know what my current expenses are. And based on the last 4 months of data, I need about $900 every single month in order to cover my current expenses. And in order to be able to make things easier, I am just going to round it to $1,000, which is going to give me some extra cushion. And the first goal would be to have $3,000 in emergency funds saved up in case something unexpected appears. And in that case, I will be able to cover myself for at least 3 months without having to worry too much about money coming in. Let's break the ice in this video. And since I saved a good chunk of money last month, and I'm about to get paid this month, I'm going to start and make an aggressive contribution to my emergency fund, and I'm going to save $1,000. So we broke the ice in this video, and I just saved $1,000, a third of the emergency fund, in a single month. Now, this is not going to be something that's going to happen every single month. This was an exception, but because I had a little bit extra in, I put everything towards building that emergency fund. And everything that I will generate up from now on, even if it's going to be some extra income, if that's going to be the case, everything will be put towards that emergency fund. So everything that's left that's not needed to cover my current expenses is going to go towards that emergency fund to build it as fast as possible, to reach that 3-month mark as fast as possible. That's how I would do it if I would have to start from $0 again. After I will reach the $3,000 per month mark, what I will do is cut the contribution to $250 in order to get to $6,000 by the end of the 12 months. So once that happens, once we will get to $3,000, what I will do is cut the monthly contribution to $250 in order to reach that $6,000 mark in about 12 months. And everything that's left over that $250 will be put aside for the purpose of investing and building wealth. If you want to start alongside me, just pick a rough number. You do not have to be as precise as I was by tracking 4 months worth of data and then figuring out how much you need. If you know you're in the ballpark of $2,000 to $2,500 per month, just pick up the average and go with that number. You can always optimize during the later months. You can add more, you can subtract, you can do whatever you want to, because those things are flexible. You do not have to be rigid with those things. The important part is to just start and nothing more. You also do not have to be as aggressive as I was. You can just start by a little bit. The important part, like I said, is to just start. Once you get to the 3-month mark, you will see that there's a lot of financial security and financial peace of mind by knowing that you are able to cover about 25% of expenses of a year. Damn, that did not sound right. You can cover about 3 months of 12 months in a year. So that's going to be very powerful. When you get to 6 months, it's probably going to be life-changing, knowing the fact that for 6 months, you basically are covered whatever it will happen. Another important part is to keep the ball rolling and keep the consistency going in order to contribute every single month or every single week, or whenever you get some extra income, to just contribute to the emergency fund, to the building of the emergency fund. And after you finish with the emergency fund, we'll deal with the others, with building the investing fund for ourselves, which is going to be the part that's going to take the bulk of the process. So after going over part 1 and part 2, this would be the part 3 where I would answer your questions. But since we do not have any questions, let's pick up a money topic that I believe is going to be worth going over briefly, that is going to bring some valuable information for all of us. Let me share with you 3 financial abilities that are required in order to build wealth, that are very easy to brush off, but are harder to implement and to stick to. And the first one is the ability to save money, the ability to live below our means, to spend less than we can afford to spend. Because while we might be able to afford to spend $3,000 or $5,000 every single month, that doesn't mean that we have to, because if we spend all that we have, there's not going to be buying power for investing and for building an emergency fund. And I listed this as the first one because I believe that's the most important one. No matter how much is coming in, if at the end of the month there's nothing left, and if one earns, let's say, $100,000 per year, or $10,000 per month, and if at the end of the month there's no money left and that person is basically waiting for the next paycheck, they are basically one paycheck away from going broke. So if something happens, they are very easily wiped out and they would have to start from literally like from zero, like we're doing right now. Second one is the ability to spend money on quality items that are going to provide value to you, like specifically to you, over a longer period of time, and not a one-trick pony, like something that's going to bring short-term pleasure. And what we want to do with this is to optimize for long-term pleasure instead of short-term pleasure. And when I think about this, I think about a quality laptop that's going to last you 2 to 3 years, a quality chair that we are about to sit like 8 to 10 hours every single day on. So having those items are going to bring long-term pleasure, even though they might be more expensive than, let's say, I don't know, a cheap chair that's like $50. If you pay $500 for a chair, that's probably going to be way better for your back, way better for your health. It's going to improve your sleep, it's going to improve your productivity, and a lot of other factors. So those are the things that I'm talking about when I'm talking about being able or having the ability to spend more on quality items. And the third one is the ability to consistently invest over a long period of time, which requires a lot of psychology around money, emotional intelligence, and emotional patience in general, because it takes some time, it takes a long period of time to build wealth. And it also takes a little bit of skills in order to pick the right investments, but not that much, like not that much, because we live in an era where index funds can do us a lot of benefit. Next time we might get a little bit more familiar with the budgeting side of the equation and looking over a budget and why a budget is going to be really important, and it's going to be fun actually to play with. Is going to give a lot of clarity over where things are going, how we can improve stuff, and it's basically the most important financial document of our life. We look at balance sheets, income statements, cash flow statements for businesses that we are trying to invest in to get the most for our money, and we look for quality businesses, and that's the same with budgeting. When we keep track of the income and the expenses, we are basically keeping a balance sheet for ourselves. And since we are looking at certain metrics for a business to invest in order to find quality businesses that will continuously compound our money and that we would like to invest in for a long period of time, why not treat ourselves like that? Why not treat ourselves like a Google, which has like one of the best balance sheets in the world? So why not be that kick-ass individual that we would like to constantly invest in, like we do with businesses? So that's the goal for the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did so, all I ask you is to please just smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, because apparently it helps a lot with pushing the video to more people. And until next time, take care, have a wonderful day, and don't forget that you are amazing.